Hello, everyone. Today I'm looking at Overwatch. Yes, this is honestly a little bit embarrassing that I realized I never actually reviewed Overwatch in the scope of my videos. And I've done multiplayer games before, so this is a little bit embarrassing I never covered it because I did play a lot of Overwatch back in the day. And it was definitely a good game. But it was weird looking back that apparently it won Game of the Year 2016, which is just like bizarre kind of. It's very unusual to give Game of the Year to a multiplayer game, especially when I think either Bloodborne or Persona 5 came out that year. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, Overwatch, it is an excellent game that I unfortunately no longer play. I remember when the first trailers came out, we were kind of going for a like Marvel if it was done by Pixar kind of vibe of superheroes. And so you had, I mean, they basically created the class hero shooter. And this is probably the last thing Blizzard made that I think universally was loved and everyone was very, very impressed by it. And because you had all these different classes and even the UI, the setup of the how would I say, like the health bars, the play of the games, the kill cams, the ultimates, the simple setup of and even the response of like the points and everything, and the assistance of the bomb to the thing. Like it became so standardized that obviously you have Marvel Rivals, which is ripping it off, and then there's a Gundam game that's ripping it off. Like Overwatch really was a game that did launch a bunch of clones because it was just so iconic and it just worked really well. It was a fantastic game. And so you had your three different classes, kind of like the light guys, the heavy guys, or the medium guys, and the tanks. And so you had people who do certain damage or certain things. And so it was a very, I mean, I loved it. It's a very simple setup where essentially you have your main gun attack and then your alt attack and then reloading, obviously. But then you had to do three special abilities. You had, yeah, it was E, W, and Q. And so you had like one special ability, maybe like a stun, and then a second one that was like an agility or a movement thing. And then you had your Q, which was, if you did enough damage or got enough kills, it would build up your ultimate meter, and you could use that to do essentially a gigantic special move. And so for characters like Reaper, he'd like do a death storm and shoot his like shotguns everywhere and whatever. And yeah, and so yeah, it's basically based off, the TF2 deliver the bomb kind of thing. That was the main mode, I believe. And so yeah, you would like get points for killing each other, but also it always kept the progress of moving the bomb forward. That was the main mode, and it's very smart and a little bit ambitious to kind of zone in like that because everyone's kind of tempted to like, oh, just go with big team battle or just do capture the flag or just do one thing or do everything, like in Fortnite where they have literally every mode possible and there's no like how do I say, like curation. And actually now think about it, the maps feel a lot like TF2 in just the design of them, I feel. And so yeah, because it is a team-based shooter, 5-on-5 or 6-on-6, I think. There's a lot of just really, I don't know, fun and cool little combos, little like scenarios that show up. There's characters like Diva who have a giant mech tank thing, and so people will always hide behind her and use that. Characters like Tracer can zoom around the map and go behind enemies. Then you have characters like Bastion, which can set up a giant gauntlet gun, and other characters would have to cover him while he sets up because he can't be mobile while he uses it. It's a great mix, and I think the sad thing, I mean, it's a great game, and it was perfect when it came out, and they added a few new characters, but I think that's where it started to kind of downfall, where they would release a new character, and then to kind of promote that character, they would give them a damage boost, or they wouldn't give them a damage boost, but they'd release them in a very powered up state. So when you played it for the first time, you're like, oh wow, Doomfist is like super powerful, or who were some of the first DLCs? I don't remember. Oh, the giant like mech goat lady who's like made out of green stuff and a shield. I don't know. I forgot. But yeah. I don't know. I think it's perfect. But yeah, when they started adding too many characters, like I think when they added the hamster and the ball, that was it. I don't know what it was about the hamster and the ball, but I just felt like after that everyone stopped playing. I remember there was Widowmaker and May, and oh, and then they had the controversy with the cowboy character who's changed it. He was McCree and now he's Cassidy because of a guy who worked there, and it got very stupid. Like there was a guy who worked there and he said something that was wrong, was fired for it, and because he was named after the character, they felt like they had to change that character's name, as if like reality and fiction were not distinguishable in some weird way. And yeah, this game coming out in 2016, that's when the industry started shifting a lot to just really, I don't know, very stupid things that kind of occurred, and trends that were like, oh, we have to take accountability for things that aren't our fault and stuff like that. But yeah, so that was another thing that led to its downfall, just like the kind of toxic atmosphere around the fan base, and the company itself, and just trying to like being correct about everything and being more about social causes in the game. Um, Aside from that, it's still a great game. And then the worst part happened when it really died, is when they announced Overwatch. What do they call it? Overwatch 2, where basically they shut down the game, they robbed it from you, and they basically said, "Hey, guess what? Now it's even though you paid $40 for this, now you've revoked the license to the game, and you're being forced to go to like Overwatch 2, which is a free to play game with more gacha elements." And that universally slaughtered this game. I don't know when Blizzard also announced Diablo, like the next Diablo game, and it was for phones only. Yeah, just the Blizzard themselves in this time period were just doing a lot of very bad decisions and very unfortunate things. And I mean, really, the whole Overwatch 2 thing, that really killed the game. Like, you could say, oh, I don't agree with, the opinions and the viewpoints and the direction the game is going in and what they're doing with the characters and all these minor things. But once they said, okay, we're going to go full gacha, and I think they were partially bought out by a Chinese company, Tencent, that's when it all just absolutely died. And then like everyone dropped off. And then funnily enough, everyone started playing Marvel Rivals, which is also a superhero game with more melee combat or melee focus and special powers, but it's literally made by a Chinese company. So there's a Chinese company that bought and kind of did Overwatch, and then a Chinese clone based on Western properties, unoriginal ones, like, the superheroes that already exist, ended up becoming the more popular game as of this point of speaking and reviewing. So I know that's crazy. I would say though, who is my favorite Overwatch character? It would probably have to be Junkrat, I would say. And it's really unnerving because when I think about my favorite TF2 character, it's also Demo Man. And there's just something about arcing weapons, anything that arcs and lobs a grenade. Well, it doesn't have to be a grenade, but anything that with an arc, even if it's an arrow, even the snipers, I guess, in Battlefield, where there's a bit of an arc to them, you have to like, guess where it's going to go. I love that stuff. It's almost like I don't want to say golf, but it's like you're calculating the arc of something, you're predicting where something's going to go, rather than just the twitch reflexes of a sniper or whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. I think Junkrat was my favorite, and just the amount of chaos he could do was always very good. But yeah, Overwatch is basically going to live in our memories at this point, and there's not much else we can really say about it. It was a great game, and it's weird because if you were to play it now, I'm sure it would be fine, but the magic just feels kind of gone. And with all the balancing and rebalancing of new and old characters, and even if you played Overwatch 2, it would probably be okay, but it's just, I don't know, it's just not something I think that would be enjoyable. Anyway, that's it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.